Hey, welcome back. It's Rob. We're going to go over cool season grasses. We'll do warm season grasses either tomorrow or the day after. Just because I didn't want to pile it in one video because I felt like it would be too much information. So let's go on with this. Lawns. Lawns are smooth living carpets that add beauty and recreational space to a home. As grass grows, it helps the environment by stabilizing the soil and reducing air pollution, noise, heat, dust, and glare. Surveys show that an attractive, well landscaped lawn can even add to a home's value. By choosing well adapted grasses and planting them in the right location, a lush lawn will grow with minimal maintenance and pesticide use. Now, before we go on to the next clip, that pesticide use, anything that you use on your lawn, if you cut your lawn and you use those grass clippings and put them in a composter, you go to compost them, those chemicals, those sprays that you use on that lawn will carry over into your compost, and you're going to be eating uh, not so healthy things. So, know the sprays or feedings or food that you're feeding your lawn. Know what's in it. Try to keep it as organic as you can if you are going to compost for a garden. Let's move on. What to plant? Cold, warm turf. Now, cool season grasses grow best in the spring and fall and less actively in the summer. They stay reasonably green in the winter. Tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and fine fescue, and perennial ryegrass are all common types of cool season grasses. Warm season grasses are slow to green up in the spring, grow best in the summer, and go dormant after the first heavy frost. So, here in Nevada, since we have a really cold season, you could do something like um, cold season grass in your front yard and summer in your back, or you can switch it up, or maybe you just want your grass green in the winter time. Now you wouldn't necessarily grow cold grass in Southern California where it's nice and sunny all the time. So knowing the environment where your grow zone, your environment is important, your soil is important because they all perform differently in these environments. Cool seasons. Tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, fine fescues, and perennial ryegrasses are all cool season perennial grasses. Cool season grasses remain green throughout most of the winter. They are better adapted to the mountains, suffer more stress in sandy soils. These grasses perform best in spring and fall and tend to show signs of stress in the summer. Cool season grasses are best seeded in early fall, but fair results may be obtained from seeding in early spring. Now, again, you could have cool season grasses that are brown in the summertime and still have a beautiful landscape uh, around it where that brown, yellowish is still adding or providing um, painting on that canvas in your garden, if that makes sense. Um, let's go on to the next one. Meaning, just because the grass is brown doesn't mean you can't add beauty to it. Tall fescue. Tall fescue is best adapted to the mountains but can be successfully maintained on the heavy silt looms. It is a reliable performer and easily started from seed. Thrives in sun or medium shade in the mountains. Impediment will not perform well in full sun in the coastal plains, especially if the soil is sandy. It is a bunch type grass, so damaged or bare areas will need to be reseeded. Exhibits good disease resistance, drought tolerance, and cold tolerance. Experts recommend planting a blend of two or three cultivars rather than seeding just a single cultivar. This broadens the genetic base and gives the turf better chance or withstanding a variety of challenges. So what they're telling you there is if you are going to go with a cool season grass, don't just go out there planting tall fescue in the area that you want to lay down your cool grass, or recommending um, adding two or three cultivars like tall fescue, Kentucky bluegrass, and fine fescue together, and then that together creates this dominant family unit that strengthens each other both in the soil and above. Um, so let's keep going here. It is a reliable performer and easily started from seed, thrives in sun or medium shade in the mountains, and pediment will not perform well in full sun in coastal plains, especially if the soil is sandy. Some of this I'm already have gone over. Is a bunch type grass. Yep. Exhibits good disease. Yep. And experts recommend planting two or three cultivars. Sometimes my brain is, I get going and talking off off my points, and then I got to regather myself. Kentucky bluegrass. Kentucky bluegrass produces a high quality, medium to fine textured turf when grown in the right climate. It is well suited for the mountains and can be grown in a combination with tall fescue in the pediment. Prefers fertile, limed, well drained soil in sun or light shade. Excellent sod results from rhizomes under stems that spread, with most cultivars recuperating from and tolerating pest control measures and moderate levels of traffic. As with most cool season grasses, it is best to broaden the genetic base by planting a blend of two or three cultivars rather than seeding a single cultivar. I added this basically on every cultivar just to put it in your head and mind, because a lot of this information that I put here is for me to go over and to plant in my head and to concrete it. So I put that there. So if you are thinking about growing cool season grasses, you're like, oh, I don't need to pick one cultivar. I should pick two or three. So tall fescue enhances the drought and heat tolerance, whereas the Kentucky bluegrass provides finer texture and greater recuperative potential. There we go again. The two come together, and the family strength just grows. Kentucky bluegrass should be mowed at a height of 1.5 to 2.5 inches when planted alone. It should be mowed at 2.5 inches or higher when mixed with tall fescue. Seeding rates range from 1 to 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Higher rates can result in weak, stands that are more susceptible to diseases and higher temperature stress. And that's just like with any plant or most plants, is if you just bunch them together, they're not going to strengthen. That sun's not even reaching down to the soil, and even sun reaching down to the soil is beneficial because that helps keep beneficial organisms on the ground, and they need that sun too. So, a lot of information. Let's go on to the next one. Fine fescues. Fine fescues include creeping red, chewings, and hard fescue. The name is derived from a very finely textured leaves which are almost as fine as pine needles. Noted for tolerance to shade, drought, and poor soil conditions compared to other soil season grasses. Fine fescues are often included with tall fescue or Kentucky bluegrass when planted in shade or when the grass will be subjected to low maintenance. I included the hay in there on accident. Let's get rid of that. May not persist in sunny locations exposed to high temperature extremes, excessive soil moisture, or humidity, or heavy traffic. So if we're talking about moisture and humidity, high temperatures, this probably wouldn't be good for Georgia, the southeast, the south, where it's really humid and hot. Uh, Seed fine fescue at 1.5 pounds per 1,000 square feet when mixed with either tall fescue or Kentucky bluegrass. Fine fescue should be mowed at 1.5 to 2.5 inches when mixed with Kentucky bluegrass, but at 2.5 inches or higher when mixed with tall fescue. Fine fescue generally do well in more natural areas with infrequent mowing. perennial ryegrass. Annual ryegrass is used only when a temporary turf cover is needed. It is never recommended for permanent lawn mixtures because it dies in late spring when temperatures approach 80 degrees or higher. Because annual ryegrass is an annual, it must be reseeded each year. Annual ryegrass has been used by some homeowners to provide winter color for Bermuda grass lawns, which is actually a summer lawn. It is sometimes found in inexpensive commercial seed mixtures. Those should be avoided. So, let's just look at some of these grasses real fast. Let's go to tall fescue. Now, the one thing I noticed when I was researching tall fescue is that it does have a toxic effect to livestock, especially cows. I haven't done the deep dive into dogs and cats, but I will. And actually, you know what we could do is we can just head over to the ASPCA, which I put into your, or I added to the group. And nothing comes up. So maybe we should let them know that they should add this to their site, but we know, or at least from this resource that we looked at, um, that they're saying that it is harmful to cows. But let's just see what it looks like. Now, of course, some of these pictures are tall fescue that hasn't been maintained, but then you can go to a maintained lawn of cold. Oh, where'd that picture go? There we go. Looks like your everyday lawn, doesn't it? And you'll notice when we go to thin fescue, you'll notice that it's really thin, light. Um, you'll notice a difference between the tall and the thin, or the fine. Look at, here's the fine. Here's a picture of it looks like an unmowed fine fescue. But even at that, you see it's a lot taller, but still thinner. Whereas if you were to go to the tall fescue, you would see it's a little bit fatter, bigger leaf grass structure. Let's look at Kentucky bluegrass. Oh, look at that one. Here's a fine fescue unmowed. Yeah. Many different ways you can use these grasses, different environments, different, you know, different preferences of keeping them short to long. Um, but yeah, that's your perennial ryegrass here. There's ryegrass right there. You can see in the background, cut up here it's longer. Even at a long width. Remember, this is an annual, so it has to you have to seed it every year. But if you were, and it dies after 80 degrees, starts to die after 80 degrees. So if you needed something fast in the cool season, you were having a wedding or an event or something, and you needed to get grass seeded fast, ryegrass perennial would be your grass because um, it would grow right away. It takes to the soil right away. It grows super fast. You can get that sucker down fast from seed. But anyways, yeah. So now we've looked at a couple of these. We've looked at the Kentucky. We've looked at the tall. We looked at the fine, and we looked at the perennial ryegrass. Just a couple pictures. And remember, when you bunch them all together, you create that dominant family uh, strength. Where they start to um, help each other out, create stronger root systems, help each other out that way, help each other below and above the soil. Um, Diseases and yeah. They really do become a family. And thanks for watching the cool grasses. I will upload a warm grasses here soon, so stay tuned for that. And if you haven't, or you're not part of my face group, I hope you join Good Karma Grows. I'm trying to uh, just promote a healthy environment for gardening, and trying to get maybe people that aren't turned on to gardening into gardening. I think it's a healthier way to live, especially with so much processed foods out there. Um, yeah, just building a healthier environment for you and your family, for your head, I mean, gardening. Take your shoes off, go out there barefooted and garden in the summer for a day, and bring out some music that you enjoy, positive music. Don't bring out anything that's gonna get you going, and don't listen to social media or media at all. Just get out there for a day and turn off life and enjoy life in the garden, the life that we should be uh, focusing on. But hope you enjoyed something. Give me a like if you did, comment, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.